won't dwell on this very long. Some people have been pointing out this wasn't a particularly sound model of economic development for a very long time, I have to say. A few people have come to it a little bit later than that, but that's okay. And let me just make a few connections for you that you might not normally make, which is the connections between the failure of this model of debt-driven, deregulated neoliberal growth and some of the failures regarding the environment. So we're now very familiar with this story in terms of what's been going on in our capital markets. None of these phrases were exactly common currency until very recently. Few people knew what subprime was, but not really. Nobody knew what a CDO was, apart from those people who were, of course, making huge bonuses in flogging them on to other people. They knew about them, all right? And we certainly didn't have any sense that we were in the process of seeding toxic derivatives through the entire global economy. It was invisible to practically all and sundry. Massive market failure at a huge level, completely mispricing risk, totally misunderstanding how this would eventually have to be sorted out in the markets. And you can see here the sort of sequence with which that worked. Now, what's that got to do with the natural environment? You might say, well, funnily enough, we've been doing exactly the same kind of stuff with the natural environment going back for 40 years. So over here, to give you a very similar taste of what's been happening, in terms of products, we've been obviously investing massively in forms of economic wealth and development that have externalized cost onto the physical environment. We now have massive cumulative liabilities running to hundreds of billions of dollars, cumulative environmental liabilities, and we've distributed these toxic time bombs throughout the environment. The collapse of the banking system and capital markets today is one symptom of a completely dysfunctional model of capitalism. So is the environmental crisis. So please don't think they're disconnected. They're not. They're symptoms of the same really badly designed capitalist model. Here's the man who, for me, epitomizes that particular model, the wondrous Jack Welch, voted manager of the century because of what he did to the market cap of GE. No mean performance, mind you, going from 14 billion to 400 billion in 20 years. It's quite cool. It came at a price. Jack Welch was known as Neutron Jack because of his habit of sacking 10% of his employees just to encourage the rest to focus on returns. He was also massively good at externalizing cost. For the whole of those 20 years, he licensed GE's release of PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, into the Hudson River and killed it. The cleanup has just started. The cost of the cleanup will run somewhere between $4 and $9 billion. Nobody quite knows how much it will cost. And the shareholders of GE today will, I guarantee, not vote for Jack Welch as manager of the century once they've picked up the full extent of that liability. It's not smart externalizing cost. All you do is shove that cost off onto somebody else's balance sheet, or another generation's balance sheet, as it were. Thank God things have changed a bit in GE. The new man who came in a few years ago, a guy called Jeff Immelt, decided this was not a smart way to allow GE to thrive in the world, and he created this organization called Eco-Imagination. The final bullet point is the one that really matters there. Hugely successful new venture inside the middle of GE. All you need to know is that is now the fastest growing bit of GE. And as they anticipate the downturn in the global economy, this is the bit where returns are holding up incredibly well.